Fantasy Animal Vegan. Hello there, I was just messing around on the computer. How are you? Winding down, very good. So it's evening where you are. Yeah, I thought I'd have a go at doing a stream in the daytime. It's 11:15 AM here. Normally I wait till evening. 18 years. Yeah, it's been a while. 2006? I think that's about 18 years, isn't it? 17, like 17 and a half years. Australia, so I'm in Western Australia. You know, the most important thing I learned and have learned and continue to learn is the cultivation of awareness. So I first got into Kung Fu because I wanted to learn how to fight. I wanted to learn self-defense. And I guess on an egotistical, on more of an egotistical level, I was interested. I wanted to be like Bruce Lee, you know. But because of the kind of Kung Fu that I got into, I learned very quickly that actually it's all about cultivation of awareness. So basically learning how to be present, very present, while using the body as a tool and refining the body and developing the body and the mind and the energy of the mind. It took me probably about 2 years in actually that I started to get into the deeper realms of what Kung Fu is. So to answer your question, I appreciate most having learned about awareness and the nature of awareness. Do you practice any martial arts yourself? Oh, Tai Chi, very good. Do you still practice? Cool. What makes you so interested in spirituality? It would seem to be secret, wouldn't it? Secret and hidden. But it's not. But it's definitely covered up. It gets covered up. Secret in plain sight, yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one. In, in some of the old stories that I looked into once upon a time, I remember hearing hearing or reading a story about I think it's a prince or it's someone, a man who goes looking for a jewel that's on his forehead. I don't know if you've seen it. Everywhere he goes, he's asking about where this jewel is. He's been told about this precious jewel, and people are just laughing at him and he can't understand why, and nobody tells him. I think people think maybe he's just crazy and they don't want to explain to him, you know? And then he meets a wise man who says, "Have you looked in the mirror?" Yeah, and it reminds me of the reality of spirituality. People go looking at, and religion too, actually. Yeah, people look in the wrong place, don't they? Or they look to the wrong... They seek a source outside of themselves. So where are you at in your spirituality? How's your life unfolding? How's it going for you? Finding some independence. Oh, that's good. It sounds like you're on the right track. Isn't it? It is amazing, isn't it? To find the resource for transformation and healing within yourself. I haven't seen much of it. I saw the movie first. The Airbender, is it called? I think the movie. Talking about chakras, yeah. Yeah, somebody I met at a Buddhist monastery put me onto the cartoon, and I think I've seen a few episodes of it. But I remember there being kind of hints. Yeah, so you're opening yourself up. Well, as long as you know what you're doing, you're okay, you know. There's a process to all of that work. And as long as you know what you're doing, then you just stick with the process, keep working your way through it. And then you keep yourself on track, yeah, and you just deal with whatever comes up, don't you? One day at a time. Yeah, you could say that. So are you working more with like a yoga system? Yoga, you know, the Hindu tradition is for the origin of the chakras, or at least that particular language. They use that language in other methods, other models, but it's more commonly, the most commonly known one is the Hindu yoga system. Energy centers in the body or in the mind. Oh, interesting. So what exactly do you do? Are you using visualization? Okay. Interesting. Oh, okay. And what's your aim in your practice? Do you have a goal? Do you have a destination to get to, an ultimate realization? Not everyone does have an ultimate destination. Some people just explore. But some people don't know that there is a destination. There is an ultimate destination, a final destination, so to speak, which is all about enlightenment, you know? Interesting. Do you find you're capable of doing that now, or that's where you want to get to? A little bit of an overreaction, hey? Good. Well, yeah, it's an unending process. You keep working on it. Your energy can always be refined. When it triggers you, yeah, it takes over, doesn't it? That's one thing about the ego, you know, you can be calm and still and centered, but when it rises up, if it's allowed to rise up, it totally dominates the situation. It's a nuclear bomb going off. Yeah, it takes over everything, and then everything that happens is filtered through that pain. But through that practice, or through that happening, you start to identify the hooks in you, you know, where people or situations are still able to push your buttons, and then, okay, you see, all right, I still need to work on these particular buttons, so to speak. And then obviously you said about refining those as well. Yeah, no worries. You never know, do you, how these things are going to work or how they're going to be received. Well, I know myself from my own exploration of gaming and Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that. If you don't have access to the balance, to the opposite side of that spectrum, you just fall into despair. You get overwhelmed. You end up consumed by anxiety and stress. And so, you know, to have a place within Twitch where you can be reminded to put Twitch down, basically. Yeah, it definitely has. To have a level of peace and confidence and comfort and contentment and happiness by yourself is the key. It's what you focus on in the beginning of your practice. And then some people never take this step. Some people just do this for themselves. But if you have the intention of wanting to help humanity, then eventually you have to be prepared to step into the arena of communication with others. And then a whole new realm of practice opens up at that point. So that's where I'm at now. Beginning to open up to the world a little bit more. a bit more publicly. I usually do this stuff in private. I've been doing this stuff in private for a long time. But in those situations, usually you know the person very well. You have to let go of wanting to help for a long time. You have to let go of that because your ego gets a hold of it, you know? So you have to really cultivate yourself and refine yourself. Oh, I see. Interesting. A metaphysical church. How cool. What was the core teaching? What was the primary focus of the teaching? And how did you introduce that as an idea? So how do you align with your true self? Thoughts, words, and prayers. So you're trying to focus the mind inward in order to generate better experience for people, more connected experience. Stillness is very important. Stillness is the foundation. You have to start with that, otherwise you go off track. Yeah, well, that's why you start with stillness. You have to be able to make contact. If you can't, you just get entangled again in the world and inevitably confused. If you don't have access to the source, so to speak, then all you have is the branches, you know, the branches and the leaves. So you have to start with stillness. That's your safety net. That's what keeps you safe. That's your security. Stillness is the ultimate exerciser of demons, and that's why you have to begin there. Interesting. Yeah, in the face of all threat, danger, stillness is the answer. There are other answers, but stillness is the ultimate answer. If you can return back to love, loving kindness, and the expression of loving kindness, that too is powerful. But stillness has this funny way of reminding people, demons, as in not people, but, you know, the kind of toxic personalities that possess people. Stillness has a way of reminding them that they're not real. And obviously demons don't like to be reminded that they're not real, because they dissolve if they realize that they're not real. That's why when it comes to your own awakening, stillness is where you go, because if you have any elements of your personality still clinging, any elements of your ego still grasping, it's in stillness that they too will dissolve. And so that's why stillness is essential. In fact, you can't get away without it. You can't make true progress without it. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. and it will kill you if it can. It's that deluded and that destructive. That's right. Mhm. It all comes back to love. Always. I'm assuming, but most people have experienced the embrace of love at some point. And it brings you to that place. It brings you to that place of total acceptance and total surrender and total serenity in the present moment. And obviously that can't coexist with fear and anxiety. They don't coexist. And so when you're deeply immersed in love in the present moment, there is no anxiety, stress, fear. Those things can't reach there. Yeah, it's a nicer way to put it, isn't it? So it looks like we're having the stream. So just give it a few minutes and see if it corrects itself.